everybody, and welcome back to the next episode of the Jackson and the Dapper Dog podcast. I'm Hunter Jackson, along with my friend and co-host Teddy the Dapper Dog, and I've got a special guest for you here today, and as usual, I let my guests introduce themselves, so take it away.
Hello, my name is Justin Streano, and I am just a regular old dude and also the owner of Rival Team Clothing Company, a competitive streetwear brand that I had just started this year. And yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, I'm super excited. All right, Teddy, you be good now. So, when I saw, so for the last like 3 or 4 years, I really stopped with Instagram altogether. I was just like, I just didn't want to have anything to do with it. And so because of that, a lot of people I went to school with, I really didn't have much contact with because I didn't have them on my Facebook. I didn't really have them on Twitter. But I started going back on Instagram when I started up this podcast because, a lot of people I used to know, they follow me on Instagram. I follow them on Instagram. And then I saw that you started up this clothing company. And I'm like, that is so awesome because I've known you since at least sophomore year of college. I knew of you freshman year, but I hadn't talked to you or we haven't really like hung out until probably sophomore year of college. Actually, I remember the first time we actually sat down and talked to each other, which we'll get into in a minute. But I saw that you started this clothing brand and I messaged you instantly. I said, dude, I'd love to have you on the podcast because first of all, the clothes look fucking legit, dude. They look awesome. The colors are awesome. The material looks awesome. The logo's really cool. And so I was like, man, I have to get him on here. And like in true entrepreneur fashion, you're like, hey, listen, man, I'm kind of busy right now. Like this thing just launched. We're going to have to wait a couple weeks. But as soon as I'm free, I'm going to let you know. And, that's for me. I message a lot of people to get on this podcast, a lot of famous people. I strike out a lot. Right. And so when I hear that, that's a 50-50. It's like, yeah, if I'm actually interested, I'll message you back. If not, that's just me being nice, a way of telling you to fuck off. Right. So 3 or 4 weeks later, you actually messaged me back. You said, hey, man, things have slowed down. I've got some availability. And I was like, let's do this. And dude, we were supposed to record this a couple days ago, and I've had literally a week from hell. So I apologize for the tardiness, but we're doing it now. The technology gods tried to stop us from recording this episode for about 10 minutes, but we figured it out, and I'm excited to get it started.
Yeah, listen, no worries, man. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to, have this chat with you, catch up ultimately. And yeah, it's a pleasure to be on.
So I want to confirm something really quick because when I was telling my fiance about why we were recording a podcast and how I knew you and everything like that, my first memory of you, we were sitting down in a business class, like a business management class. Maybe it was even an HR class, right? And you sit next to me. And I knew who you were, you knew who I was, but we had never really had that conversation. So I'm talking to you and you're like, you're a Knicks fan, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm a Knicks fan. And I'm pretty sure I remember you saying, yeah, Alan Hahn is my next door neighbor or something crazy like that. And I was like, dude, what? And so I wanted to talk about that because I follow Alan Hahn. Now, I've been a Knicks fan my entire life. And this instance I'm talking to you about was like 5 or 6 years ago, right? But I follow Alan Hahn on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. And I actually tweeted at Alan Hahn once recently, and he actually liked my tweet. And so it made me instantly think of you as like, I know somebody who lives next to Alan Hahn or used to.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, he moved into the neighborhood. I was probably like 14, maybe 15. At the time he was writing for Newsday, so he hadn't even really, been with the Knicks and MSG, at that point. But he started picking up and doing the post game shows and everything. And I saw that you were a huge Knicks fan because you had all the gear, all the apparel, all the time. You were always repping some sports jersey, whether it was basketball or not. So, and instantly I was like, you know what? It's a fun fact. Why not break the ice?
What an icebreaker.
If you're a Knicks fan, you'll know. Unfortunately, he doesn't live in the neighborhood anymore. He moved a little bit closer to the city to where he had to work, so it's understandable. So, but yeah, I remember that time exactly.
So just because I like to put clips out on social media of the show, this is the part where I say, hello, Alan Hahn. I'm going to tweet you on Twitter. I'm going to @ you on Instagram, and I'm hanging out with one of your former neighbors right now. And you better like and retweet this clip, Alan Hahn. Go Knicks.
Hey, listen,
So
he's one of the nicest guys I've ever met. So, and I've known him for a long time. I haven't spoken to him in some years now since he moved, but yeah, he'll definitely reach out.
yeah, he's the coolest, man. So let's just get into it, man. What the hell you been up to?
Sure.
Other than Rival Team Clothing Company, which we're gonna spend a lot of time talking about. I know that's why you're on here, but let's just catch up. It's been a number of years, man. What's Justin been up to?
Listen, after we graduated, I mean, I moved. I tried to find a job up in Albany. It was a little tough at first, so with the time constraint, I moved back home to Long Island, and ultimately, I found a job right away. I mean, like, we graduated in May. I was probably starting my full-time career around June or July. So compared to, in my own head, I would think that that's a pretty quick turnaround to start your career. I was happy with that. And since then, I've been in the HR field as well. And I've had a couple jobs since then. One of them, I worked for Arizona Beverages, the iced tea company. That was a great experience. Drank a lot of iced tea. I hate Snapple now, so.
Yeah, no, Arizona's always the way to go, dude. If a company can stay loyal to that 99 cents through the popularity, they've got my business forever.
Right. Yeah. But since then, I mean, I no longer work there anymore. I work in the HR department for a really rapidly growing company called Site MD or Site Medical Doctors. They're just a vision management company, and that owns a lot of, doctors, ophthalmologists and surgery centers, all in the realm of ophthalmology. So that's kind of what I'm doing now. I still work, full time, as well as, starting my own company, but that's really what I've been up to, man. It's just.
That's good, man. So where is the conception of Rival Team Clothing Company? So take me back to where you were. Like, has fashion always been a passion of yours? Has streetwear always been a passion of yours? Or did you just sit down one day and you're like, you know what? I think I'm going to try this. Like, how did it conceptualize?
All right, that's a good question, because at no point in my upbringing was I ever a fashionable guy. I never really thought about it. All my life, like, just playing sports, it was always what was easiest and most comfortable to wear, t-shirts and all that stuff, just like Nike t-shirts and stuff like that. So it really didn't come into fruition until recently. I mean, after going through Siena College and really pushing getting out of my comfort zone, for, say, when coming to dress, because now I'm wearing button downs, now I'm wearing all these nicer clothes. I don't know. I kind of fell in love with wearing something and that feeling that makes you, like, that you look good in it.
Yeah.
And I just fell in love with that. But realistically, that's not what driven me to start the company. Ever since COVID, I was sitting in the house and I was like, man, I need to find something to be passionate about. I mean, now that everything's closed down, there's nothing that I feel passionate about right now. I mean, besides, at the time, working remote and working really long hours, because when I was remote, no one knew, there was no 5 o'clock. It was just like people would work till the wee hours of the night. So I needed something to be passionate about. And, I just jumped into clothing. If I can make something and it's tangible, I can hold it in my hand, and I can say I created this. That's really what driven me to start this company, is just, I wanted to be able to make something that not only that I enjoy, but that, other people will enjoy. And I'm trying to build a community around it, a competitive community around it.
Yeah, and I did, just to take it back to what you said about going to Siena, and you thought, you never cared about how you dress. And listen, going to Siena was an opening experience for me, in terms of, I thought that I was dressing nice until I went to school, and I was like, I remember, like, calling my mom, like a week or two after being at school and be like, I need some new clothes. Because I had never, I swear to God, I had never heard of Vineyard Vines. I had never. Like, listen, dude, I came from a small town. People were wearing, their lumberjack boots and their Cummins diesel trucks to school. Dude, nobody wore Vineyard Vines. I had no idea. I thought the idea of luxury clothing was like Ralph Lauren polo that you got at TJ Maxx half off. Like, I just didn't have the concept. So I got to school and I think I'm well dressed because I like the way I look and I care about my appearance. And I'm like, what are all these brands? What does this mean? And dude, so I was very overwhelmed. I remember like going on a shopping spree and being like, I have to wear a button down every day. I have to wear khaki shorts or khaki pants. I have to wear boat shoes. Like, I went from normal to extreme douchebag in 1 September, and I fully embraced it.
Oh yeah, me too. I'm in the same boat, and I'm glad that you felt the same way because, coming from the way I dressed growing up, I was just like, am I the only one that just doesn't dress like this? Because I feel as if, and now I'm using boat shoes as slippers, and I'm going to sleep in button down. So
yeah, it was wild. It was wild. But okay. So that's funny, man. And I really like, okay, so it makes sense, COVID, everybody's, hunkered down and you're trying to look for something to do. I get that. Where's the name come from? Because that was the most difficult part about me for the podcast. So and I still, even after I started, I wasn't sold on it for a while. But it took me, I wanted to start the podcast maybe 3 or 4 months earlier, but I couldn't decide on a name. I couldn't, because a name is so much. It's your identity. It's your merchandise. It's how you market yourself. It's your logo for your merch. It's how people recognize you. And I just couldn't come up with something. And so it's such an important decision. So where did Rival Team Clothing Company come from?
That's a great little story to tell. And I was in the same boat when I first had the idea to start this company. And it was a pretty fast turnaround, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I really started the idea of this company last November. So, I mean, we're in April now, so it hasn't even been a year yet. And I couldn't figure out a name to save my life. If my life depended on it, it wasn't going to happen. And at that point, I found out all the logistics first about how I'm going to source the garments, how I'm going to, how I'm going to design the garments and how to get it all done. I knew I had all the logistics that you can think of already prepped and planned out, but I just couldn't make any action on it because I'm not going to go to all these companies and be like, hey, I'm trying to work with you. I'm a brand new business. And they're like, what's your name? And I'm like, to be determined.
Unknown.
So,
I actually wanted to make my podcast the Unknown Podcast because I couldn't make up a name. And believe it or not, it was taken.
Yeah. So, I mean, and that's another thing is you have to be creative enough. You have to be catchy enough, and it has to provide some meaning to people. But it can't be something that's already taken. And in today's day and age, it's so easy to start a business. It's so easy to start a podcast. It's so easy to do all these things. And not to say that it doesn't take hard work and dedication to start any of these things, because by all means it does. But with the technology available to just the everyday person, it's so easy. And so there's a million clothing brands out there. There's a million podcasts out there. So finding a name that's catchy and that's not taken is honestly a very, very hard thing to do. But to get back into this, there was one day it was a Saturday and I was sitting on my couch and I had my laptop and I'm like, all right, I got to come up with a name. I can't make any more progress forward with this company until I come up with a name. And so I spent about an hour and a half just sitting there on a random word generator, just throwing in words that I thought were catchy to just see if something sparked. And after a while, I was like, you know what? I need some brainstorm music. So I blast my speakers and I was just jamming out. And it was funny. It was actually words in a song that said the words Rival Team. And I was thinking about it. I was like, and it was a hip hop song and it was an absolute bar. And I was thinking about it. I was like, oh my God, did you just make a metaphor using that word? Like, I was like, that's so deep. That's so crazy. But then I stepped back and I was like, wait, the word Rival Team could have some meaning to a lot of people who have a competitive headspace and a competitive mindset. That could mean a lot to someone. And it's also really catchy. and it's something that I embody. I mean, I always thought that I was a competitive person in general. I mean, I played sports my entire life all the way up through college. And then when I decided not to play in college, I kicked myself for it, which has ended up how I joined uh, rugby. So just because I wanted to be part of a team, I wanted to be competitive again. So that's really where it came from. I was like, you know what? One, this sounds catchy to me, and two, this could have some meaning to me, and I can build a community of competitive-minded people who all are focused on one thing, and that's to better themselves, and that's to do the best that they can in whatever facet of life they're in. So
Yeah, that's a pretty great mission statement, man. So, um, since that, now, what was the beginning of it like? So you got the name and you already had all these things lined up. So, but how does that work? Like, how do you get into production? Did you like try and like source the idea out to see like if anybody would be interested, or did you just get merchandise right away? Like, I don't know anything about it. So for the listener at home that doesn't know, and for me, how does that process just completely start? Like, do you take purchase orders first and then get the supply after? Or?
no, so for me at least. I mean, there's plenty of ways that you can go about it. I just thought that this made the most sense to me, the route that I took. Um, but I have a partner, and their name, I'll shout them out, is SD Branding. The boys over at Saatchi, they really helped me bring my dream to life. I mean, it's hard when you're not, a business, to get wholesale quality garments. And I say quality is because you can go out and you can buy wholesale Gildan t-shirts. You can buy, and I'm not trying to bash Gildan. You can buy wholesale shorts or something like that. But if you don't have that access to get something a little bit more than that, it could be kind of tough. But everyone's got to start somewhere, and I got lucky enough to work with these great guys at Saatchi Di Dinero and SD Branding to help me source the garments, to introduce me to the industry, and to really drive the business forward. So I mean, they're legitimately the backbone to my production. I mean, I come with everything, with the designs. I come with the colors. I come with the sizing. I come with the fit that I want. I come with everything that I need. But that production piece, they help me bring to life. And so there's multiple different companies that we work with, to source the garments and to print on the garments and to embroider, logos onto the garments. So it really is like, you can start anywhere. I mean, and I encourage people to start, if you want to be a business. It's really fulfilling. But that's just really how it started. I mean, I found someone that, also, believed in the vision that I saw, and helped me bring this to life. So that I shout out to them.
Yeah, shout out. So where speak upon like maybe so you dropped right, and you had the merch, and I think it was the sweatshirts. You had the maroon, and you
Hmm.
had the light blue. The sweatshirts, they were really nice with the medallion on the back, right? That's what it
Yes.
was. And
Yes.
so what was the initial support? Because this is my take on starting your own business, and I do view this podcast as a business, and I'm very grateful for everything. But I've noticed that I've tried to start a few businesses in the past, and I've had a podcast before this that lasted about 8 episodes. But one thing I've always noticed is everybody supports in the beginning, right? That's when the views are the most high. That's when the buzz is the most high, because everyone's like, oh, what's this new thing that Hunter's doing? What's this new thing Justin's doing? Oh, that's cool. And you get the clicks, 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 clicks. Then when it's time for the second go around, or the second episode, or the second merch drop, or whatever the case is, it's less, and it's significantly less. And then it kind of stays significantly less until you're able to slowly start to build that up. And I'm still in that significantly less phase right now, right? So
Yeah.
did you see that kind of drop off? And if you did it kind of mess with your head a little bit? Were you like, oh my God, I'm going to be a success? And then all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, you're like,
Yeah.
okay, maybe not, maybe not right away.
Well, I'd agree with that. I agree with where, you get that initial, punch of support from, family, friends, and um friends of friends and all that stuff. But or people that knew you a while back, but I'm still also in an early stage where I'm about to have my second drop. Um, the initial support was kind of crazy. Everyone reaching out, everyone saying that they loved what they saw, and that they're willing to support me. And the thing is I knew in the beginning that it was going to be a slow climb. I mean, unless you go viral overnight,
Right.
that it's going to be a grind, and that's kind of what you got to put your mindset as. You want to make this successful. You got to put in all the work, all the
Hmm.
effort. I work a full-time 40-hour a week job, sometimes more, and then I come home and I'll be working on rival team stuff till like 1, 2 in the morning, and that's just the mind space that you have to be in. And but you're right. I mean, the initial support was crazy, and it started to drop off a little. It's a little stagnant, but I'm doing a lot of promoting. I'm trying to have a huge outreach, just even through ads and stuff like that. I'm shelling out the money. I'm really not profiting yet. I wouldn't even be close to profiting yet, but at this point, I want to get my product out there, because to me it means more to see everyone, the community that I will build, and people wearing my products, and people loving the quality of them. That means more to me than the money aspect, because right now I'm having so much fun doing it. But yeah, man, you just got to keep grinding. It's slow.
Yeah.
It's gonna be slow until your pants fall off and you go viral
Yeah.
on the internet. The
Yeah.
success ain't overnight.
Oh, no, for sure. And listen, I love doing this podcast. This is the only thing I've ever wanted to do. My dream job when I was a kid was to work for ESPN. It was always to be an anchor, to be a broadcaster, to have a radio show, to have a TV show, to voice my opinion that nobody really cares about, but they love the sound of my voice, right? So
Yeah.
that's always been my dream. And then you see this manifestation of podcasting and how podcasting is kind of taken over. And I'm like, okay, maybe I don't need to work for ESPN, although I'm still available, guys, if you're
Yep.
interested. And but I can start my own thing. I don't have to wait. I don't have to get lucky, or have to know somebody, or hell, even go to broadcast school or journalism school or get a communications
Yep.
degree. I can just pursue this because this is something that I want to do. And it's something I've always wanted to do. And just the idea of recording an episode with somebody interesting like yourself, that gets me super excited. I work a full-time job too, but I'm always talking about my podcast to the point where my
Yep.
fiance wants me to shut the fuck up. So I get it. You know what I mean? But it's my favorite thing, and what I excuse me, what I've looked at doing in every episode of the podcast that I recorded so far is I love supporting people who are following their dreams, following their passions, and are trying to make a living being happy, right?
Yep.
So I always reach
Yep.
out to those people, and you can see that with every single guest I've had on. It's always me trying to promote somebody else, support somebody else. I'm interested in talking to them because they've started a business. They've got this thing going for them. They're a stand-up comedian. They're a rapper. They own their own Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or MMA gym. And I love supporting people that are following their dreams and working really hard and trying to make something for themselves so they're not miserable for the rest of their life. Hey, nothing against working in a factory if you work in a factory and you like it, but for me, I want to make a living doing something I love every day, rather than
Yeah.
just making a
Of
living
course.
making a living, right?
Of course. Yeah.
So that's why I approached you. That's why I wanted to do this. That's why I started this podcast in the beginning, because I want it to be about interesting people with an interesting story to tell. You know what I mean? Because what's
Yeah.
better than having a conversation with somebody who's interesting as fuck, laughing about it while you're doing it, and also
Yeah.
just getting to know somebody? I mean, what's better?
Yeah.
I mean, it's great.
No, nothing. I mean, like I said, it's a great opportunity for us to catch up. I know we've known each other for a long time now, and it's been a couple years. But yeah, I mean, you've been pumping out a lot of content and a lot of entertaining content. So I'm glad that you're working hard and you're following your dreams as well.
Yeah,
And
man, I appreciate that. And I got this little bastard here with me, this cute little guy.
little co-host.
Yeah, so the funny story about the dog, for those of you who don't know, right, friends or family who don't know, me and my fiance, Christina, were living in Kentucky for a year. And she went home. She took a trip back home to New York to visit her family or whatever. And she FaceTimes me, and it's like random. It's like 3:00 in the afternoon. This is like 2-3 years ago, and I answer the FaceTime, and there's this dog that is literally this big, jumping around at her feet, jumping, like literally going ballistic. And she goes, "Don't you love him? Isn't he the cutest? Don't you love him?" And I'm like, what is going on? Because listen, I love dogs. I love animals. I have had a lot of animals in my life, but I've never been a small dog person, right? Don't get me wrong, they're cute, but I never wanted to own one. I'm always a bigger dog person. I want to take them camping, want to take them fishing. You know, I want to have them riding in the back seat of the car and not worry about hitting the brakes and them go flying through the windshield. You know what I mean? Like, I've always liked bigger dogs. And I'm like, listen, I was like, listen, if you want the dog, then get the dog. That's fine. But I was kind of like, a little dog, like we're going to like parade him around, like carry him everywhere. Like, I'm not into that. You know what I mean? So she brings him home, and dude, I instantly was like, oh my God, this is the cutest thing I've ever seen. I have a picture, which I'll find and send to you. He was the size of a novel. Like, I had a book in my bathroom, and when we brought him home, I like took him into the bathroom to take a picture with him in the mirror, and I put him on top of this book. He was the size of a novel. And so ever since then, he is like my best friend. I love this dog. He's hilarious. He provides so much entertainment for me and my fiance. It's not even funny.
Yeah, well, you know, happy wife, happy life. That's what they say. And it's always the guy that says, you know what, nah, I don't want an animal. But once you bring the animal around, you guys become best friends. They make memes about it all the time. It's true.
Yeah.
It's
and
true.
it was never even about the animal, because I'm the type of person that if I go into PetSmart and I pass the bearded dragon enclosure, I'm like, dude, I need a bearded dragon. Dude, I need a turtle. Dude, I need a tortoise. Like, I love animals. It was just, I love dogs. I just didn't know how I felt about having a small dog. And like, he is the best. I love cuddling with him every night. I always have him in my arms. Like, dude, I love it. It's the best. So I decided to make him the co-host and the logo of the show. And I kind of wanted to talk about that. So I'm having some logos made up right now. And I had this idea for merch in the future, right? And I'm not even saying it like a partner with you. I just wanted to get your opinion on it. So it's going to be like a torso, upper body cartoon of Teddy, right? And and I was thinking about like in the Dapper Dog, so I'm figuring like a top hat, maybe a bow tie, a monocle, or something like that. And then, but for merch, do seasonal merch, right? So the 4th of July, that monocle becomes a pair of sunglasses, and that bow tie becomes an American flag handkerchief, and he's wearing swim trunks. You know what I mean? For Christmas, it's a Santa hat and a Santa beard or whatever. For Halloween, it's a scary costume. You know what I mean? And I was thinking like that would be perfect for people who don't even give a shit or know about the podcast, right? Because some girl who likes cartoon version of dogs is going to buy it because it's cute, right? Or people are going to support it because they support me or they like the show or whatever the case is. But that could even turn into a secondary business, because there could be people that don't know anything about the show whatsoever, but just see this cute logo with a funny dog and sunglasses on it or something like that, with a beer in his hand for 4th of July. And there they go. They want to own that shirt. I have plenty of shirts that I don't know anything about the company, but I thought that the logo was funny, so I bought it.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great idea, especially because it relates to your podcast, but it also has that added effect where literally anyone just might think that your dog's the cutest thing in the world and just be like, I gotta pick up that shirt. I have to pick up that shirt, because you've been in stores. You even did it with the bearded dragon. You're just like, I have to do it. I see it. I like it. I have it. So no, I mean that sounds like a great idea. And you know, if you need help, when you need any kind of direction, hit me up. We'll get something going for you.
So for where can people get your stuff? I normally do the plug at the end, but like, are you going to stay strictly e-commerce for now? And you're going to stick online, sell on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter? Hey, here's my website, order through here. Do you have any ambitions whatsoever about getting into small boutiques in Long Island, or, doing it that way? Like, what's the future? What's the vision?
So the future right now, or the immediate future, is I'm going to stay e-commerce. The goal is to, right now is to make enough so that I can increase my inventory space, because that's a limiting factor right now for me too. I don't have the inventory space that I need. And right now, I want to be able to fund really high quality products, but I want to have a variety of them for both men and women. So right now I'm going to strictly stick with e-commerce. I'm going to upgrade, get a little bit of a bigger warehouse um, and have a little bit more inventory, and then we'll start to think, maybe I'll do a little brick and mortar situation. It depends. If there's people local and I don't even have a brick and mortar and they want to, I'll have a pickup option if they'd like. I do now. If you're close enough and you know me right now and you want to pick it up because you don't want to pay for shipping, that's fine by me. I mean, so yeah, that's really the goal. I mean, e-commerce is the future, I believe, and
I
I
agree.
think things are gonna brick and mortar stores are gonna start to phase out. I mean, it's convenient for it's always going to be there for the convenience items like food and there's always going to be a Walmart and stuff like that. But for like little boutiques and shops, I think it would be a lot more cost effective if it all went to e-commerce. But then again, who knows? Because some people like to try stuff on, man. That's the
Yeah.
downside to e-commerce. You don't get to try it on, and then you got to hope that the company has a great return policy.
Right. So now I remember looking back. You had the sweatshirts. What clothing items are you going to do? You're going to do t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats. Like what are you looking and diving into?
I'm doing everything. If I can make it if I can make it happen, I'm making it happen. So right now on the website, it's looking a little thin. Inventory's a little thin right now as well, which is a good thing and a
Yeah,
bad
of
thing.
course. Yeah.
Um, and I have sweatshirts and I have these amazing trucker hats on there with a nice leather patch with the medallion logo on the front as well. But I have a drop coming out very soon, within the next couple weeks. It is a secret for what the garments are. Some people know, but that's the people closest to me, so don't say a word. But I'm putting out little feelers on my Instagram of the color schemes and the designs, but you don't really get to see it on the article of clothing as well, especially because those are just proofs. It's not the final product. Final product's gonna go crazy, I'm telling you. But quality is always on point. The people that I'm working with, that they got the best quality in the game, and I'm really excited. So you're gonna be surprised by one of the items. It's
Yeah.
gonna be ready for
I
summer.
can see by the smile on your face, just the passion and the excitement about it. So, yeah, man, I'm excited for you, and I'll definitely, again, here's what I think. I said support the people that are following their dreams. I'm also a firm believer in you get what you give, right? So
Yep.
I know other people who have started a podcast, and I subscribe to their podcast or YouTube, and if they drop merch, I'll buy a T-shirt, something like that. So I'm definitely gonna buy one of your things, and maybe
Appreciate
a
that.
hat or a sweatshirt. I love the sweatshirts. They look like they're like super comfortable, man. Like I saw some of the pictures you put of like people working out in them or people on the beach in them. They look like they're that thick quality, like but not too thick. You know what I mean? Like just a
Yeah.
comfortable sweatshirt. Like you could wear it to the beach. You could wear it chilling on the couch, watching a movie.
Yeah.
You could wear it to the gym. Like it looks like it's a high quality item, man.
Yeah. So that was one of the plus sides to the release of the sweatshirt for me. The takeaways for me that I personally enjoyed is because, I mean, it's kind of a backhanded compliment, but I mean, I took it as a compliment where people who bought from me had reached back out and they said, wow, I'm really surprised by the quality and how comfortable the sweatshirt is, because like I wear it every single day. Like I basically live in this thing. And that, even though it was a backhanded compliment that they didn't have the expectation of quality garments, I still was, I took it as like, oh, they really enjoy it. That's how I see it, and that's how I'm gonna keep seeing it, and I love that. It's what I
and,
live for.
and that's exactly how you should take it too. Because listen, here's the thing. Okay, anybody can buy a screen printer, right? And buy
Yeah.
a T-shirt from Walmart for $3, or a pack of 10 Hanes T-shirts, right?
Yep.
And screen print something on a T-shirt and sell it for $40 and say they started a clothing brand, right?
Yeah.
For you to go about it the way you went about it is the right way. and, you know, to partner with these people and have somebody that mentors you and make sure you have the high quality thing. But see, a lot of people don't do that. And that's exactly why people have these expectations. They're going to support you because they love you, right, in the beginning.
Right.
And then they're going to support you because they love your product. But the thing is a lot of people have a sour taste in their mouth because everybody, if anybody can half-ass something to get to $1 million, they're going to half-ass something to get to $1 million, right? So if you go to Walmart and buy a 10-pack of white Hanes t-shirts and screen print, I don't know, a Nike logo on it and sell it for $40, well, guess what? Yeah, you made $40, but you only made it as a one-time fixed income because they're not coming back.
Right.
So it's a good thing. It's not necessarily a backhanded compliment to you, I would assume. It's more of a surprise because a lot of people try to do something like this, but they don't put everything they have into it. They try to half-ass it to make a quick buck. And people are probably more surprised at the fact that, hey, this is somebody who's actually passionate about this and has gone the right way about it, rather than actually being surprised because it was you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that people really had set their expectations low, especially because they don't know what to expect. I mean, it's not like I came from fashion. It's not like I was known for fashion or anything, or known for dressing nice or looking good at all times. I mean, they had their expectations low, and you know, I impressed them, and that was the satisfying thing to me. I love to hear, you know, comments. Oh, I love your product. I love the way it looks. I love the colors. I love the way it feels. I love the way it fits. And that's what I aim for before I even, you know, start production on my next product. Is I do so much research onto the quality of this the fabrics and the fit and the finish, and that is what makes it the most fulfilling to me, is because not only am I putting out a product that looks good on paper, but it also lives up to its name. I can proudly promote that it's quality products.
Yeah, well, that's great, man. And listen, it's really awesome to reconnect with you in this way. It's been a long time since I talked to you, honestly. I graduated actually a semester early, so when you had said we had graduated in the spring, I actually graduated that winter. But I kind of just like disappeared. You know what I mean? I didn't say anything to anybody really. I just kind of left. So it's been a long time since we've talked and been able to catch up. And I love the fact that we're doing it, both trying to promote what we love and what we're doing and what we're pursuing in adulthood, when we were just fucking stupid ass kids doing stupid shit, you know, a couple of years ago. And now, you know, we're grown adults, and you're starting a company and I'm starting a podcast, and I own my own house, and you're, you know, working 40 hours as, you know, doing this whole important HR thing, which, by the way, I do not envy anybody in HR, dude. Oh, I've been dealing with some things that I can't get into with my day job that I'm glad I'm not an HR person. It's just like, and man, it's wild. So it's just wild that we're able to reconnect this way and have this conversation. And really, it comes down to the power of social media, right? Because let's just take this back to 30 years ago. We leave college and that's just, hey, see ya. You know, maybe I'll
see you at the reunion.
Yeah. Maybe I'll write you a postcard or something. But you know, now I haven't talked to you in years, and I just send you one message on Instagram, and all of a sudden we're connected again, you know, and then we're doing this 45-minute podcast or 40-minute podcast here, and you know, we're both having a good time. So it's just cool, man, how the way the world is heading.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was definitely a great opportunity, and I thank you so much for bringing me on the show. It's great to catch up, and it's great to, you know, promote both of our soon-to-be livelihoods.
Right. So, okay, this is my favorite part of the show most of the time. This is the part where I like you to plug all of your stuff, okay? So, where do we follow you on Instagram and Twitter? What's the website? You know, do you have a Twitter handle or an Instagram handle for your clothing company? Plug everything that you got.
Yes. So you can follow me at Rival Team Clothing Co. on Instagram and Facebook. I also have a website where you could purchase any of the products, and we do have new products coming out for both men and women in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that. You can find it at rivalteamclothingco.com. And then, you know, you can always reach out to my personal Instagram if you need details, at Justin Streano on all platforms.
Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Rival Team Clothing Company, everybody.
Thank you.